Record started. All right, perfect, guys. So I love to kick off our call with some numbers. And just so you understand, our week runs from Thursday to Wednesday. So the normal week is either Sunday to Saturday for some people, or Monday to Sunday, depending on what your week looks like. But our week here at Family First Life, Thursday is the first day of our week. We dial our leads, our full-time agents, that is, dial to book appointments on Thursdays. So most agents are in the office or they're dialing live on Zoom. And then they run appointments Friday, Saturday. And then some people work Sundays, some people take it off like Chick-fil-A. And then Monday is like our midweek where we get back to the office. We dial, book our schedule for Tuesday and Wednesday. And so we're officially November 4th today, but we are day one of week 2 of the month of November. And we just finished up the month of October. I think we have week 3 numbers, and I'm going to share my screen with you and jump into our Facebook group to show you those. So just hang tight 1 second. Okay, perfect. So in our Facebook group, I'm going to come back and highlight a couple things, but I want to find our numbers under the photo section. And I'm just going to look for our top 20 numbers. Let's see if they're easy to find this time. You see a lot of different things here, which I'll explain in the Facebook group. Actually, I'll go over our 10K producers just to kind of give you an idea of what's possible here. So these were a few of our producers that were over 10K, and I think this was 3 weeks into the month. Hold on 1 second. Make sure Wi-Fi is good. There we go. All right, perfect. All right, perfect. So you see here, this is just our producers over 10K. Couple people I want to highlight. These numbers are self-explanatory. This is the paid commissions to our agents throughout the month of October. And I think this was only for the first 3 weeks. But the most noteworthy thing here that I want to mention, I'm just looking and scanning through this. So Ashley V, 17,958. That was 3 weeks into the month. She's a new agent with us. I think this is probably her second month, and she already made 17,000 3 weeks in. And then Anissa, this is her, I think her second month as well, second full month going full time with us. And she's already at 11,062, and that's just 3 weeks out of the month. And then you could kind of just see the range here. These were all of our producers over 10K 3 weeks into the month. So, the sky is the limit, so to speak. Or some people might say, you could reach past the sky. But this, to me, when I got started 4.5 years ago, this gave me hope, because I was able to look at this and see, okay, if Derek can make $27,000 in a month or 3 weeks, then I just need to find out what Derek is doing, because Derek can't be any more special than me. And you could say that for anybody on this list, whether it's Sam or Chris or Gabe or Anissa or Prince. This gives you an opportunity to see what's possible, what you can accomplish if you're willing to work hard and you're willing to be coachable and apply what we're going to go over tonight. So I like sharing those numbers, and you can go to this Facebook group and you can scan through. Again, this is just the photo section. You can see a lot of recognition. Congratulations to some of these new agents that are getting started. I think Anthony's on the call tonight. So Anthony, just getting started with us. So welcome to the team, Anthony. I think Brandy, you're on the call tonight. Welcome. And Sharon, you're on the call as well. I see you, Sharon. Welcome to the team. So I don't know if Karen and Jasmine is on here, but if you are, welcome as well. So what we use this Facebook group for is just an opportunity to create an environment where you know what it takes to be successful. So this is like showcasing what it takes to be successful, and then also training and support that you need is provided through this website. So you can scroll through these pictures. You see some recognition for our agents, and then you'll also see what it takes to get that recognition, which is our agents in the office working, booking up their appointments, for the business day. And then on the main page, which is a discussion section, and this is FFL, the Impact Agency team page. You get to see a lot of different posts. We recorded a podcast today with Sam from Jacksonville. He flew up to Atlanta office, so check out this podcast. He gave some tips for new agents. Sam consistently, he's about maybe 8 months in, and he consistently does $20,000 to $30,000 a month in production. And so you want to, that's somebody that you can connect with. And that's the other thing you could do through this Facebook group. You can literally message Sam here and be able to say, hey, I saw you were on that podcast. Would love to run a couple questions by you. Do you have a minute to chat so I can ask you a few questions? So we create that environment where you can network and be able to grow your business, because we're all independent agents. You're not an employee. Nobody's going to force you to be successful, but we're going to make sure you have the tools that you need to be successful, and you get to apply them. And when you're successful, you get the credit. If you don't apply them and you're not successful, you also get the credit, because it's an equal playing field for everybody. So a lot of stuff is posted here. This Tele CRM, if you want to utilize that, that's available. And then one of the biggest things we like to do is we're in an environment that we like to congratulate each other. Most people don't have a job where somebody's telling them on a daily basis, how good they're doing, hey, good job, great work. But that's the environment we have here. So when Derek is out in the field about 3 hours ago and sold a policy to a client, made $557. And then the John Hancock is the JH. So everybody likes the photo and congratulates them. Sometimes we'll post on top of that. And then if there's training calls and podcasts, we're always posting this here, and a lot of recognition. So needless to say, make sure you're plugged into this group. Princess did a virtual sale with her client, saved him from throwing his money away at the strip club. Got him some life insurance instead. You guys should read that one. That one's pretty funny. So we're pretty open and transparent as an agency, and like I said, our goal is to empower you. Prince, I'll highlight this. This was his weekly submit. So in our business, you have two numbers. You have your paid commissions, which is once the policies are approved and processed, and you've been paid by the insurance company, which is what I showed you up front. And then we have our submit numbers. Submit numbers are the applications we submitted to the carriers that's being processed so that they could be paid out and issued to the client. And so last week, as I said, our week just ended yesterday, Wednesday. That was week 1 of November. And so Prince, over the course of that 1 week, submitted $48,000 in business. So if all that business gets issued, he will be paid $48,000 just for 1 week's worth of work. Now, there's not too many industries that you could do that. And there's definitely not too many you could do that. Yeah, exactly, Sharon. I'm saying the same thing. I wish I could see everybody else's face right now. But there's not too many industries you could do that without having a degree, an advanced degree, or some innate talent like sports or being an artist, where you can make that type of money. But in this business, you can if you work hard. You write your own paycheck. The more people you help, the more money you make. And so that's one of the great things about this industry overall. And you definitely got to take full advantage and give yourself time too to learn this industry. It may take you 90 days to kind of get your feet stable, and it will take you a year before you truly feel comfortable and feel like you actually know what you're doing. And to be honest with you, 4.5 years later, some days I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I still got so much more to learn, because you're always learning, you're always growing. So, but definitely check out our Facebook group. And then the last thing I want to touch on here, let me see if we have it in the media section. We've got some incentives that you could participate in as a new agent, because this call is geared towards new agent. This thing is just loading everything. And so we've got a couple incentives. I'm trying to find the screenshot of it here in the Facebook group. But we've got some holiday incentives going on right now, where if you are a new agent and you issue pay over $5,000 in a week, you are able to make an extra $300. We do like a cash bonus every week, and it's $300, and you could rack up every week. We have one producer that's won 2 weeks so far. And so $600 we paid her on top of everything else that she made. And then we have a challenge of 100K. Any producer that produces 100,000 between now and the end of the year, we've got some bonuses and some incentives there. It's in these pictures somewhere, but we post so much content that it's probably lost a little bit. There it is. I just flew by it. Here it is. we got to post it more. So this is a holiday incentive that runs through December 23rd. So you still have time to be able to participate in that. I think there's 7 weeks left in this holiday incentive. So if you have any questions, check in with the person that invited you onto a call. All right, guys. So you know what's available here in the Facebook group. Take advantage, participate, share pictures when you're out with your clients, helping them, and just contribute to this environment, and also take advantage of the environment, okay? And then on the next place I'm gonna go is our knowledge library. And I'm gonna, hold on a second here. I'm gonna drop this link in the chat so that way you guys can copy and bookmark it. Okay, perfect. So the link for the knowledge library is in the chat. We're going to hang out there for the rest of this call, and we're going to go over each section that we have highlighted here. So that way, you know, all the tools and resources that are available to you during, you know, for you to get up and running. So first of all, under contracting, this, you know, people who are that are on the call, you should have already completed the contracting process. This means that you've already submitted your request with the insurance companies. Some of you may still be waiting for them to approve you. Some of you may already be approved and you have your write-in numbers. But for you, those agents that are licensed, that's your next step. And this is a video on SureOC, which is the portal that Family First Life uses for you to complete your contracting. And if you still need help or you still have questions, you can schedule a contract and help call with Desiree, who's our operations manager. She handles all of our onboarding and contracting. So you could click this link here in the knowledge library to schedule a help call, 15-minute session where you can make sure, okay, I do have everything in place that I need from a contracting standpoint if you're not sure. But before you do that, these videos are here to make sure you could kind of check, you know, dot all the I's and cross all the T's. So make sure you kind of watch these videos, read through this information. And then once you've done that, if you're still unsure of what you need to do to be able to make sure that you're fully contracted, then you can go ahead and schedule a contract and help call with Desiree, and she'll be happy to help you to make sure everything is taken care of. Because unless you, without submitting your appointment request, then there's no way that you could be able to write a policy. So we want to make sure you at least get that done. And if you have questions as we're going through, for the sake of time, I'm not going to pause and ask if you have questions, but if you do have questions, drop them in the chat and I'll answer them as we're going through. So yeah, contracting, Mike, is where you sign up with the different carriers. So if you haven't done that yet, you should have a link. All of you should have received an email that has the link for you to be able to start your contracting. And if you don't have that, review those videos here and then schedule a help section. And again, the link for this knowledge library is in the chat. So that's the first section. And then we're going to go to compensation. That was a good question, Mike, by the way. Feel free, guys, drop your questions in if you have any as we're going through. So holiday incentive is here as well. So you could keep that in front of you and be able to collect some of that free money that we're giving away. That can help offset your lead costs as you're out there protecting families. And then at the end of the year, well, in January, once we calculate the winners, we'll have 3 top agents that are we're going to take to dinner with America, our preferred partner, and one of them is going to get $1,000 in cash on top of that. So pretty cool incentive. That's just extra money. Now here's the real money, I guess, or the actual money that you make from a compensation standpoint. So this is our promotional guideline here at Family First Life. Starting compensation is 90%, as you can see on your screen. And so typically, however, when we're starting out new agents, we start them at 100% here at the Impact Agency, just to give you an opportunity to make more money. And our goal, Family First Life's goal, is to make money with you, not off of you. And so you start at 100%. That's equivalent to $10,000 in issue paid business on a monthly basis. What does that mean? The average policy that we help a client with is $1,000 a year that they pay. So 10,000 divided by 1,000, that's 10, simple math. So that means you're helping 10 families per month. You're issuing 10 policies per month, and that's the equivalent production. Now, we don't have any quotas here, but we do have recommendations as far as, hey, if your compensation's at this level, this is what you should be producing and bringing to the table, bringing to the company, the business that you should be bringing, the families that you should be helping. And then if you want to advance and make more money, you do that on your time and at your will, so to speak. And so you can advance from 100% to 105%. All you have to do is, instead of helping 10 families, you help 15 families that month, right? Which is easy to do. Everyone on here should be able to help at least 5 families on a weekly basis if you're full-time, and even some people could do that on a part-time basis. But this just shows you how you advance. And you could get all the way up to 130%. So here's what that means, right? That's the percentage of that $1,000 average that you make, and I'll explain that here shortly. But you can advance and be able to earn more. To go above 130%, you would need to do that with an agency. So you're on what's called a builder's contract, and you're building an agency. You're hiring and helping people just like we are here at the Impact Agency. And you can advance as well from 100% to 105% on the builder side, where you're still doing 10,000 yourself. But let's say you and the team, you do 75,000. So that's 75 families that you help that month as a team. Now you advance to a 105, and you didn't have to write the 15. So if you have any questions on that, drop it in the chat. But this just explains kind of how you can grow and increase your income. And I always kept this in front of me. I always knew what I had to do to qualify for my next raise, so to speak. And I was going after it because I want to get all the money that's available for me to get. I got 2 kids at the time, now 3, so I need to definitely grow some more, and a wife. So definitely a lot of needs there from a family standpoint. All right, now let's make that make sense, right? Carrier compensation guide is the next thing I'm going to click on. Yeah, no, the starting commission, Sharon, is at 90% with Family First Life. Depending on your experience, most agents do start higher than that, but the minimum you'll start is 90. Typically, if you're a brand new agent, you haven't been in insurance before, you're somewhere at like 100, 95, 100. And then if you've been in insurance, you've got some experience, it's a 105 or 110. So here's what that 100, let's say you're at 100% contract level with Family First Life. What that means is what the carrier pays you. So if it's a term policy with Americo, you get paid at that 100%. So if that policy is $1,000 that the client is paying annually, Americo is going to pay you $1,000. They're going to split that into 2 payments. They're going to split that into a 75% advance. So in this example, that's $750 that you'd get paid in 2 to 3 days once the policy is approved. And then at the end of the year, months 10, 11, and 12, they'll pay you equally that last remaining 25%, or in this case, $250 split equally over the last 3 months. Okay, so that's how you get paid on the term policy. Now, if it's a whole life policy with Americo, they do pay you at 95% instead of 100%. And that simply means instead of $1,000 on that same $1,000 policy, you get paid $950. They still advance you 75% of that. And then they pay you the other 25% at the end of the year. And then with the whole life plans, you get paid for 10 years. Every year the policy renews, you get a small percentage of that annual premium, somewhere between 3 to 11%, depending on what product that they pay you every time the client renews. So, it's small if it's one policy, but then when you look at over the course of a year, how many policies you sell, and over the course of years, how many policies you sell, that small percentage tends to add up, and you get paid for the next 10 years on those whole life plans. So that's why they pay you a little bit less upfront, because you're going to make a lot of money on the back end. And so you can look at this compensation grid and just know what carriers pay you what. For example, if you scroll across at 100%, Americo's whole life plan pays you at 95%. You go across to AIG, their whole life plan pays you at 50%. and that's because it's a guaranteed issue with no health questions. So they take what do you call it? They take basically anybody, literally, as long as they're 50 and older, no matter what's wrong with them. They could be, they could have cancer. They take them. And so they're going to pay you less because they're taking on a riskier case where they might either have to pay out sooner than later. Well, that's the main reason. They might have to pay out sooner than later. So they're not going to pay you as much of that money because they're trying not to lose it all on the back end. So just be aware of that and only write those type of products when it's absolutely necessary. For example, if the client does have cancer, if they've had a heart attack in the last year, if they've had a stroke in the last 6 months, if they've they're HIV positive, that's another category. If they're on kidney dialysis and those type of things. So you could scroll through, and I'm going to tell you our top 6 companies right now that we use. I recommend, everyone starts with Americo. Where is Aetna on here? Aetna for whole life. And then also, we do have AIG in case we do have a client that's really sick. So those are kind of the first 3. And then the next in line would be Mutual of Omaha for whole life and term. And then we also have Prosperity for whole life. And then John Hancock for term as well. So those are kind of our top 6 companies. And those are the ones that you'll be appointed with first. And then the rest we can add on as needed. But honestly speaking, within those 6, we're able to service 99% of the clients that we sit in front of. So we typically don't need to go anywhere else. And I'll talk more about that in the product section. So on top of the commissions that I just explained, I'll run through this part real quick. FFL also has producer bonuses. So for those of you that are ambitious and want to work hard and you're going to be doing this full time, or you want to work really hard on a part-time basis, if you help 30 families a month, you make $30,000 in commissions. FFL throws an extra $500 every month you do that on top of it. So 12 times 5 is 6. That's an extra $6,000 a year. And depending on your ambition level, you can get as much money as you want to make. We have agents here that do $100K in a month on a regular basis. And so, it's just depending on how hard you want to work, but those producer bonuses are available to anybody that hit those levels. And then there's also manager bonuses. If you say, hey, you know what, I want to build an agency, I want to manage agents, the minimum bonus you'll make once you get to a certain level, which is the vice president level, where you and your agency do $150,000 per month, is $2,500 or $2,500 a month. And every month you're at that level, FFL will pay you a bonus of $2,500 or more. So that's a minimum of $30,000 extra a year that you can make. So it's just a lot of ways for you to be able to create an income here at Family First Life. So yeah, Belinda, we can help you with that. Just reach out to either myself or Desiree, and we can get you set up. So yeah, plenty of opportunities. It's just about what you're willing to do and how hard you're willing to work. My first month when I got started, so some of you may know my story, some of you may not. I'll tell you real quick, and then I'll jump to the next section. But I was working 50 to 70 hours a week as an Uber driver when I saw this business opportunity. One of my passengers, who was a hiring manager for the Southeast agency here in Atlanta, told me about Family First Life. And, when I saw this, some people see this like, oh man, this is perfect. I could work less and still make good money. I saw this and I said, this is perfect. I could work the same amount and make even more money. And so my first month, I made $11,000. Like that was the most money I've ever made in one month before. My second month was $18,000 and some change. And then my third month was $23,000 and some change. Just in a matter of 3 months, it was over $50,000. And that's what it took me a year to make before. And so I didn't slack off and say, all right, I got easy money now. No, I said, hey, I'm gonna buckle down. Made $160,000 my first 7 months in this business. And I'm not special. You hear me stumbling over my words. I'm not drinking, it's just water. But I do work hard. And I am coachable, and I know how to take advantage of an opportunity when it presents itself and not slack off, because that's a blessing. Not many people get to do what we do. So I'd encourage you to do the same, right? So jump into the training section here, right? Now we have weekly training calls. Today is Thursday, trying to get my days right. So Mondays, We do live dials on Zoom, the same Zoom link. So save this link and you can hop on from 8 to 12. We are on here. Generally, we'll have maybe 10 to 15 agents on here dial in. So if you're new, you could come, you could listen to agents dial and book their appointments, hear their scripts, hear them overcome objections or not overcome objections, good, bad, indifferent. You hear it all and you get to learn firsthand. That helped me tremendously when I got started. We do the same thing again on Thursday because those are our dial days. And then we have a 2 p.m. weekly Zoom training call every Monday. These are all Eastern time, by the way. And so 2 p.m. We have a sales training call. Typically, we'll have a guest speaker, somebody that's killing it here at FFL, doing 20, 30, 40, 50. The guy coming on Monday, his name is Chris. He does $100,000 on the month on his own pen. Yeah, Sharon, really. Last year, he did over 800,000 on his own pen. So we bring guests on. Again, our goal is to empower you to know what it takes to be successful, and then you get to choose to do it. So he'll be on Monday. Don't miss that call. It is recorded and posted to our YouTube and Facebook page. If you do miss it, if you're full-time working, you can't take the time to watch the call, but if you can, be on live because then you get to ask questions as well. And then Thursdays, we have the new agent orientation. My recommendation to you being new is for your first 30, 60, maybe even your first 90 days, hop on this call each week. We rotate who the host is, and you'll always hear the same thing, but in a different way. And then the more you hear it, the more it sinks in, and the more it becomes a part of your process as well to be able to help you. And then Friday, don't ever miss this Friday morning call. It is recorded and posted to our Facebook page, but it's 11 a.m. live, and it's the Next Level Live. This is Family First Life corporate sales training call. There's always, sorry, I just read Sharon's comment. This is really where the money resides. And I could see the guy in the blue shirt singing that song. But yeah, so 11 a.m. every Friday, we have the Next Level Live call, right? And we have top producers. So tomorrow we have 3 producers that are going to be talking about virtual sales, right? We run a hybrid business right now. And that's probably down here. This is the next thing that we're going to talk about. So virtual sales, the great thing about what we do is you can service your client in whatever way is convenient for them and convenient for you. If your client prefers in person like I do, then go out and see them. If your client prefers virtual, then hook them up on Zoom or help them over the phone. And there's a process and there's training and there's support and there's scripts and everything for that right here at the FFL Virtual Sales Training Center site, whatever you want to call it. And then tomorrow, what I was referencing on the TNL call is at 11 a.m., there's 3 top producers that are going to do virtual sales training. So you don't want to miss that as well. I incorporate both in my business. For example, Tuesday, I was out in the field. I had 7 appointments. 6 of them were in-person appointments. 1 was on Zoom. 6 appointments, I made no sales. I think I sat with 4 of the 6 and I didn't sell any of them. I got excuses and I couldn't overcome the excuses 4.5 years into this. But the Zoom appointment, I sold the Zoom appointment, made almost $2,500 on that one appointment, helped the husband and wife. So I incorporate both. And for that family, it was just more convenient. They weren't available to meet in person, so we scheduled a Zoom appointment. So I do recommend that all agents start with field or just a hybrid system. Don't just go all virtual because there's so much more that you learn by going out in the field and being able to do this face-to-face, and then you can incorporate that skill set into the virtual. But we have plenty of training here when it comes to phone script, how to call and book an appointment. We also have in-home training from some of the top producers. These are our top 6 recommended videos. So I highly recommend you watch these. That's kind of your homework over the next day or 2. The sooner you could get through it, the better. I think most of these videos, like the lengthiest one is maybe 30 minutes. And so you could learn, what to say on the phone and how to go about booking appointments, and then what to say when you get to the house, which is really the 2 main things you need to know. And so that's the training provided there. And then we have our top 3 YouTube channels. Ours, of course, a lot of training content on there. You could just click and it takes you right to YouTube. And then Family First Life corporate YouTube channel, tons of training on there. And then Family First Life USA's YouTube channel, they put out a new training video every 2 days. So there's plenty of content. And the way you utilize this, so I know that the phrase YouTube University is cliche, but with our business, it's so vital and it's so instrumental to your success to be a student of YouTube University. And anything that you need to know in regards to being proficient in your business, whether it's about phone script, whether it's about leads, whether it's about in-home presentation, you can find that in any one of these 3 channels. You could literally go to that channel and you could type in-home presentation, and you could watch a bunch of in-home videos. And my recommendation is to find the person that you connect with the most, because all of us connect with different people. Their stories, their voice, might relate. Their personality might relate to who we are. So find that person. I'm 100% sure you could find someone that does relate to you, and then Google or YouTube search them and find the rest of the content that they put out, and then you can watch that, because it's pretty much guaranteed that they've put out content on different topics, and that's really how you become proficient. So over the next 30 days, you want to take time, 60 days even, to at the end of the night, in that dead time when you might be watching whatever you watch, you take that time and you educate yourself, and you kind of put it in your mind like, hey, you know what, I got to buckle down for the next 30, 60 days so I can learn and hone my skills and my skill set here to be proficient. The people who are most successful, that's what they do. I did a lot of that as I was getting started. So that's our training section. And then our lead station is where you learn about leads and you purchase leads. This video, everything new agents need to know about leads, is pretty straightforward. It's exactly what the title says. So definitely watch that. And then this is how you would access the CRM to be able to purchase leads. And we're going to jump in here real quick so I can show you how to do that. And again, you can rewatch this. If I'm going too fast for you, it's going to be out by the end of the night, if not by tomorrow morning, on our Facebook and our YouTube page. And then before I jump in, yep, you can, Mike. You can definitely find it in the Facebook page. So before I jump into the CRM, WorkSpots is Family First Life's office sharing platform. I highly recommend that you guys go ahead and join WorkSpots. It's $99 a month, and it's a tax write-off. But on top of being a tax write-off, what you get through WorkSpots are 2 things. You get to access any of the 150 offices that Family First Life has throughout the country. So if there's not one in your backyard, whenever you travel, which you can, get a license in another state, travel to do business, you'll be able to go to work at one of the local offices. All you have to do is check in the app, go in the office, get a desk, go to work, meet some of the local agents there, network, grow your business. So that's one thing that's offered. But the most important thing, in my opinion, that WorkSpots offers is that you get lead discounts throughout the week. And I think we had a few posted in our Facebook page, but throughout the week, they'll have discounts on leads. Sometimes it's 25%, sometimes it's 50%. Especially with the holiday coming up, they're going to have a bunch of discounts on leads. And so, if you're building a business, you want to be able to do it with the lowest overhead possible. This is a great way. You make an investment of $99 and you get all the lead discounts. Most agents who use WorkSpots save hundreds of dollars, and I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of dollars on a monthly basis, because you're always purchasing leads on a weekly basis and you get a discount. So you could click here and you could download the app if you're on a mobile device, Android, Apple, whatever the case may be. So let me jump into the CRM. And while I do that, I'm going to explain to you, and this is something that you want to write down. I like to look at leads in 3 categories, okay? Category 1 is when I'm starting out as a new agent. I might be a little bit financially strapped, not a lot of money, obviously, which is why I'm looking to get into insurance. And so I want to be able to have the most affordable lead possible. And the CRM leads are that. So that's my first recommendation, category 1, to start with the CRM leads. I'm going to tell you the categories and then I'll explain category 1, which is what we're looking at. Category 2 would be like a, what's the best name for it? It's like a Google lead or a Facebook lead is the best name. You could call it an internet lead. but it's a more expensive, like a premium internet lead is the best category, best name for that category. And we got to write this down. I talk about it all the time, but we haven't kind of documented it. But in that category, the CRM leads, they range anywhere from $1 to $11, right? Whereas the premium internet leads, those are anywhere from $20 to $30, and those leads, they cost more because they'll have some more information, and they have a higher intention with the client filling out that lead. They might even have the hobby of the client. They type in their hobby when they fill out that lead online. And so you're able to call and talk about their hobby and connect with them and be able to book an appointment. So that's category 2. And then category 3 would be new mailed leads. Those are leads that you either pay a set amount for 1,000 postcards that they mail to the client talking about life insurance, and then the client mails it back. Or you have some leads that you just pay per lead. So if the lead comes in, it's $69 per lead. I have some of those leads. And what that, you guys might hear my son, it's bath time, and he doesn't like baths right now at 4 months old. But what that means, that $69, is that leads convert higher, and it's a higher intention lead because they get postcard in the mail, they fill it out, and they mail it back, right? So that third category, those are the mailed-in leads, category 3, mail-in leads. So, or direct mail, new direct mail leads. So I recommend, depending on where your budget is, because you're talking about $1 to $11 in category 1, $20 to $30 in category 2, and then $40 to $70 in category 3 per lead. If you're brand new, my recommendation is to start here with category 1, because you're able to learn and hone your skills in a $1 to $11 price range, opposed to a $40 to $60 price range. All right. So here in the Internet Life leads to our CRM, when you get CRM access and you log in, you click order leads, and then you click buy cherry pick leads, you'll see this map of the United States, and it's a heat map, and all the leads are here. You could kind of see the different lead types. I'm just going to go over some of these lead types just so you have a quick understanding of the ones that I recommend you get started with as a new agent. And then you can hone in on your area and you could see what is available. So on the left, you have your internet leads, right? The predominant ones that I use are the new internet leads. These leads are $9 each. And they're brand new internet leads, someone who's online looking for a quote for term or whole life insurance. They fill out, answer like 13 questions, and you pay $9 for that lead. I also use the 1-month-old leads, which I recommend for new agents. These are $4, and they're 1 to 3-month-old internet leads. So they may have been called before, and nobody, said, hey, we sold them a policy. So they pop back up after a month to 3 months later. And so you have an opportunity to be able to get your practice in at a discounted rate, and you'll still be able to learn and earn, or earn while you learn, because you're going to make sales from these leads. So those are kind of my first 2 recommended leads for new agents. And you could do the instant ones, which are brand new. They cost $11. And then you have the 3-month-old ones, which are older. Those are like 3 to 6 month old, and they cost $3. So you're going to work these a little bit harder. It's either you have time or you have money. Money means you buy the more expensive lead, you work less on the phone to book an appointment. Or if you have more time than you have money, then you buy the more cost-effective lead, but you put in a little bit more time to get an appointment. For example, if you get 100 of these leads, you should be able to make 5 sales out of that. And not 95 sales, 5 sales. So you have to go through that 100 leads to identify the clients that are going to allow you to meet with them in person or virtually and identify those 5 sales. Whereas if you have 100, category 3 leads, you're probably going to make maybe 30 sales or so. So it's just a different concept. And then I also recommend for new agents to try some of these second chance direct mail leads. These are the leads that would normally be category 3, but they're either 1 month old or 2 month old. So at 1 month old, instead of paying $60 for the lead, you get it for $9, right? And then 2 month old, it's $7, and then 3 month old, it's $6. And so you can definitely take advantage of that. And it gives you some practice. And these are mortgage protection leads. Mortgage protection is just a term policy that's covering your mortgage. There's nothing special about it. It's not a special type of insurance. It's just a term insurance earmarked for the mortgage. And then you also have final expense. Now, the older these leads are, the ones that says age final expense, and age mortgage protection with no time frame, those tend to be a couple years old. There's still plenty of opportunities here, but my recommendation for you as a new agent is to stick to the ones that are 1 month, 2 months, and sometimes the 3-month ones as well, until you gain some experience, and then you'll be better at handling the ones that are a little bit more age, because you'll know how to address those specifically. So that's my recommendation. And when you're getting started, you could just hang out with the internet leads, the $9 ones and the $4 ones, and be able to, kind of get off the ground with those. And you want to have $500 to $1,000 to get started with leads. And ideally, minimum number of leads you want to get is probably 60. The closer you could get to 100 leads to get started is the best position you can put yourself in, because you got to understand, unless you've done this before, you're not going to be that great on the phone. You're going to have some objections that you can't overcome. You're going to be stumbling over your words. And so the best thing to do is to do that at the lowest cost possible and be able to have as many reps as possible, so that way you can get better and just kind of buckle up. But you do have to have a thick skin in this business when you're getting started, because there's a learning curve, and you're going to have to go through that and just embrace the mess, is what I like to say. You got to be comfortable with failing and know that through failure, you'll become successful. If you don't like failing, this is not the business for you, because you're going to fail a lot. But just like Michael Jackson probably failed a lot too, but Michael Jordan talks about how he's missed more shots than he's made, but he's still the best player to ever do it, right? Same thing in our business. It's no different. So I see a couple questions here. Sharon says, what about live transfer leads? I don't recommend them. There are $80 to $100 each. Now, if you want to go ahead and throw your money at that, go ahead. But I would recommend you more buy the $11 lead here and call them and live transfer yourself to them at $11 cost, opposed to paying somebody $80 to $100 just to call them for you and connect them with you. Live transfers, they're still being developed. I mean, some of them work great, but the way they have them priced right now, the market is inflated from what I can see. And you could write business. Belinda had a question about, do you only use leads or can you do referrals? Referrals are great. You could write a policy for anybody that you want, as long as you're doing business ethically and honestly. You could do referrals or however. A great way to use these leads is to help make a sale and get a referral or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and that lead pays for itself multiple times over. So a lead, again, guys, is just an opportunity to speak to a client who's expressed an interest in life insurance. It's not a guaranteed sale. It's up to you to be able to help identify that need and meet that need, okay? So real quick, let's jump back into the knowledge library. Hold on, let me see if I could actually. So as I mentioned to you guys, I do a lot of category 3 leads. This is my actual CRM, and I'll just show you real quick. So, and I'll answer your question in a minute here, Sharon. So, you see the different leads that I utilize. A lot of these are the $60 leads, and the reason I do that, today is what, the 4th. So I've gotten about 15 of them so far this week. Out of 15, I'll normally book probably 10 appointments, 10 to 11 appointments on these more expensive leads. And I do that to maximize my time with everything I do with the agency. In addition to writing my own policies, I want to be able to, be on the phone less. But when you're getting started, you got to put in a little bit of that elbow grease, okay? The internet life leads, I utilize those as well. Let me just open this one and show you what that looks like, and then we'll get on with the rest of the training. So this gives you the name of the client. It gives you their date of birth, their address, the county they're in, their phone number, and then it gives you some information here on some of the questions that they answered. So You know, for example, I'm looking at this and I'm like, Trevi, is that a man or woman? I come down here and it tells me female. Okay. And then if they smoke, those type of things. Now, most of the time, this information is accurate. Sometimes it's not. So you can always verify it. And I'm going to just kind of go through a quick phone script with you so you can kind of know how I would call that person. Let me just back up to the phone script section. And while I do that, you could call, Sharon, any state that you're licensed in, and you could get a license in any state that you want to. All you have to do is pay for it. Once you've got a resident license, you could get a reciprocal license in any state. So this section is our phone script section. We have a couple of phone script training videos here on top of the ones we have in the training section. And then we have what's called our dial tracker. I would recommend highly that you use this dial tracker for your first 30 to 60 days because it allows you to track your dials and you're able to kind of see the results that you're getting on paper. And it's just like if, hey, you're trying to lose weight, it's going to be important to track your meals so you can see what you're actually putting in your body and what you might need to eliminate. Okay. Same thing with your finances. If your budget's out of whack, you need to start tracking your spending. So that way you can look back and say, oh, this week I went to McDonald's too many times or whatever the case may be. Dial tracker is the same thing for your business. This is the most important part of our business, dialing and booking appointments. So what this allows us to do, if I'm coaching you, I'm able to look at your dial tracker. And if I see, you know, a bunch of X's, which means you made calls, you spoke to somebody, they answered, but there was no appointment. That tells me that we need to work on your phone script, because if you're having a bunch of people pick up that filled out a form and asked for life insurance, but they don't want to meet with you and get life insurance, then there's something you're doing wrong. So this is how that helps you. So you're able to bring this to me and say, hey, Jermaine, here's my dial tracker. You know, I made 200 calls today or 300 calls today. You know, what do you recommend I do different? You know, anything, you know, you see that I should change or adjust, and you could be able to get some coaching on what you can improve. So highly recommend using that dial tracker. And then, is this writable, Sharon? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you're talking about the dial tracker, you could download it and, you know, print it out. That would be my recommendation. Or if you want to plug it into something else, some other software that you can write on it, you sure can. And then let's jump to the phone script so we could get through this. So this is my phone script. Feel free to use it. That's why we have it on the website. It's nice and simple. And I'm just going to run through it here with this lead, Trevi. So let's say I call Trevi. She picks up. And so I say, hey, Trevi. She says yes. I say, hey, it's Jermaine Clifford. I'm just giving you a quick call to introduce myself. I'm the field underwriter assigned to get this information out to you that you requested online to get some help with your insurance. I see you're over here in Clayton County, over on Joyce Drive. Is that correct? She says yes. Okay, perfect. So like I was saying, Trevi, just wanted to introduce myself. My job, I'm licensed by the state with about 15 different insurance companies. So whenever somebody goes online here in Clayton County and fill out a form to get help with their life insurance, it comes over to me. I see I have your date of birth here is August 3rd, 1977. Is that correct? All right, perfect. So the way this works is non-medical. They dispatch me out to go over it with you and see what you're eligible for and help you. And I'm dispatched that way tomorrow. Are you working or are you retired? Okay, you work. And what time do you typically get in from work on a Friday? 5? Okay, awesome. So I've got a 6:30 or a 7:30 for a quick 15-minute appointment. Which one of those work better for you? 7:30? Okay, perfect. All right, so I drive a blue car. I have my ID badge with me, just so you know it's me, Jermaine, and not a complete stranger. And I do have you at 5445 Joyce Drive. Is that still your address? Okay, perfect. So just put me on your calendar. Give me between 7:30 and 8:30 in case I'm running a little bit behind, but I'll definitely be there. I look forward to meeting you and seeing what I could do to help you. Okay. And then in most cases, that's a phone script, right? In most cases, like here, it says she's married. I typically do ask that. I didn't do it on this mock call, but I typically ask, hey, is this just for you or are you married? And I want her to let me know if she's married, then we need to make sure her husband will be home at the same time. So it's really that simple. Now, you sometimes get objections and you try to overcome them. I think we got a few of them listed in here. Actually, we should have a couple of them listed in here. But yeah, if you listen to the live dials, you'll hear some of those objections and how we overcome them. But it's really that simple. You do that enough, it becomes that natural to you, and you just help the clients that are ready for your help. All right. Now we're going to jump to product guide, guys, and we'll be wrapping this up probably in another 10 minutes. Okay. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. So like I mentioned before, we keep it pretty simple. There's really 6 companies that we work with on a day-to-day basis out of all the ones that you saw on that compensation grid, because there's 2 products that we focus on: whole life, and that's based on what our clients are looking at. By the way, we work, if you will, a niche market, if I'm saying that word correctly, niche, however you want to say it. Feel like I'm speaking German, but our clients are just middle America folks. Some of them may be lower income folks that don't have enough insurance or don't have any insurance, and they know they need it, so they go online shopping for it. They don't know where to get it, and they probably drove past Allstate and State Farm, and they didn't want to go into those buildings. They want to get it online or get somebody to come out and help them. And so they're looking for a whole life to cover their burial, or they're looking for a term to cover their mortgage or replace their income, leave a little bit of legacy money if they die. And that's what we focus on. There's a lot of different products in the insurance world, but that's kind of our wheelhouse. That's our bread and butter, day in, day out. That's probably 80 to 90% of the business that we do. I'd probably say closer to 90. Now, every now and then we will come across a couple of clients that might need an IUL, which is more of an investment type life insurance product. For those of you that just graduated, you know what I'm talking about, or just passed your state exam. And then some clients need some type of retirement product, which is an annuity. But that's probably 5% of the clients that we see. So we focus on the bread and butter of our business, whole life and term life. These are the products with the carriers that we write those, the companies that we write those products with. Americo, their product is the Eagle Premier. Prosperity, theirs is the New Vista. Aetna, their product is called Ascendo. Mutual, their product is called Live and Promise. And then AIG, I mentioned to you before, it's called a GIWL, Guaranteed Issue Whole Life. And then on the term side, you see Americo's our go-to, CBO 100, Term 125, John Hancock Vitality, Mutual Term Life Express, and then AmHam will use them from time to time with the Home Protector. And then we have a couple of ULs. But the reason why we have this here is, for your product knowledge, you simply just have to go to the carriers and then look up the product guide for these products and just read through them. You don't have to be an expert in the product guide, because at the end of the day, all you need to know is that this whole life policy is going to be there your whole life, Ms. Johnson. You're going to pay this much, it won't ever change, and the policy won't expire until you expire, and then it's going to pay out to your daughter. Same thing on the term side. Hey, Mr. Andre, this policy is going to be with you for the next 20 years, covers you if you die, covers you if you get sick. After 20 years, the policy's up, and here's the affordable price for it. So it's really that simple. There's not that much that you have to be a product expert on. The reason why we have multiple carriers is just to be able to make sure we can cover as many clients as possible. Each company has a different level of man, I'm lacking my words today, leniency, I guess, when it comes to underwriting. So and then you could write some paper apps if you're getting started and you're waiting for the carriers to get you approved. Like Americo has paper apps, so does Mutual of Omaha. I think Aetna and Prosperity also has paper apps. So if you're like, hey, I'm gung-ho, Jermaine, I'm ready to go, I don't want to wait for my approval, my agent numbers from the insurance companies, let's get out there with paper application and let's protect some folks. And we submit that would actually speed up your contracting process, because the carriers will see that you have new business. And speaking of which, if you do need to check on where your contracting is, after 3 days of submitting your contracts, call the insurance company. These are their phone numbers here, and pester them like, hey, get me approved, get me approved, get me approved, please. I want to go protect some families. Because if not, some of them will take a week and a half, to be able to get you approved. But we want to get you going and help you start making money. Our goal is for you to be able to know you sold your first policy within the next week, within this week, before next week Thursday's call. So that way you'll be out, helping families, getting some money in your pocket. But you could click on these links to go to the carrier websites. For example, Americo's our favorite because they have a great new agent site where you could see all the product information. They have a couple training videos here on their 2 products. And so you could watch these 2 training videos. That's all the product knowledge you need. And then when you're ready to write business, you go back here and you go to e-application. You can even do a demo e-application with Americo, which I highly recommend. And you're able to kind of see the process of what that application looks like. See if this will take me back. Here we go. And again, this is under the product guide section. And there's a few videos here on how to set up your sales folder and some of the things you need to be field ready. And then we have the Family First Life apparel store. The apparel store is where you get like the Family First Life polo shirts and jackets and all that stuff if you want to. When I got started, I wore a button-down shirt and some jeans and some sneakers. That was my uniform. And I had a big old clunky Dell laptop. And I was so happy when I was able to get that first commission check and go buy a tablet because that Dell was like 20 pounds. So I just started where I started and then I upgraded once I got paid. So, but if you want business cards out the gate, you can. If you want an agent ID, you can. And then all the business support materials that you want to get, backpacks and all of that good stuff. It's all here. They have a few, there's one thing that I'd recommend on here or highlight. I recommend everything on here, but there's, I think there's a door knocking, there's like a leave behind note card that you use when you're door knocking. I don't know where it is, but it's on here somewhere. That's good too. So if you do door knock somebody that's not answering, you can just leave them like a delivery notice is what it is. Okay. So I'm going to jump to our final section and then we'll just put a pin in this thing and answer any questions if there are any. But the in-home section is kind of where you live day to day. So I use this website every day I'm in the field. This is my business Bible, and I recommend the same thing for you. So this goes over the in-home process, which you'll learn from the training videos, but it gives you a good guideline of how you should flow through your process in the home. The first thing you want to do is complete the client worksheet. So the client worksheet is right here. So you could print that worksheet, and it's really just an intake form. Like you ever been to the doctor's office and they're like, yeah, fill this out while you wait. It's like 20 pages. Well, this is our 20 pages melted down into one. And that's just you collect the client information, medical information, personal contact and data information. And really it's there to help you create structure in the home. So you can explain to the client, like, first, I'm going to ask you some personal information just to make sure I get all your information correct. And then I'm going to ask you some medical questions. And then I'm going to ask you some questions about what you need, whether it's a mortgage or a life insurance appointment that you're on. And then I'll be able to show you a few plans so that way we could see what makes the most sense for you. So this is to give you a structure. And I use this to this day, since day one. I use this in every house. Okay. So that's a client worksheet. And the training videos will go over how to go through that. And then I review the final expense and term grid. So I want to slow down here because I get several calls throughout the week and I say, hey, have you looked at the final expense or the term grid yet? And it's like, oh, where's that? So here it is, guys. UW, which is underwriting, grid sheets. These you use in every house, especially when you're brand new. Now, what these are, these sheets cover about 95 to 100%. All right, 99.9% of the health conditions that you will encounter when you're with your client. So if your client's looking for a whole life policy and for their funeral expenses, then you go to the final expense grid sheet, right? And then it depends on the condition that you collected on that client worksheet, you are able to go and see, okay, who's most likely to approve this? And we always lead with Americo, then we would probably go to Aetna, then we'll go to Prosperity, and then if they're seriously sick, we go to AIG, kind of in that order. But at least this will give you some guidance so you can be able to, scroll across and kind of see, who will accept that condition, okay? So For example, bipolar. I had an agent call me about that the other day. And I said, hey, did you look at the final expense underwriting grid? So if you have a client that's bipolar, here's my process. I come to the underwriting grid, and then I'm going to Americal first, and I want to see, okay, what does Americal say? Americal says not ask, which means it's allowed. If they don't ask about it, it's not an issue. So I can go ahead and write them with Americal. My underwriting job is done. I put this up. I said, great news, Mr. Client. I found the perfect company that can get you some coverage. Let me put a couple options together for you, and then I'm good to go. And then we have the same thing for term. So if your client's looking for a term policy, 20-year term, 30-year term, 15-year term, covering a mortgage with term, then you do the same thing with the term policy. You just search through the conditions if there are any that exist. Okay. And then once you search through the conditions, if you're still unsure, you have a couple options, right? By then, me being experienced, I know, okay, I'm going to write Americal, client's bipolar. But if I'm still unsure for some reason, I could review the product underwriting. The underwriting guide. Some of the, all of the insurance companies have product underwriting guides. You can actually call the insurance company and say, hey, can you send me a copy of your underwriting guide? They'll mail it to you, 7 days, you'll have it. And you can have that as an additional specific product review if you want to verify. And then you also have the application questions. One of the good things to do is have paper applications with you. I remember so many times as I was getting started in my career, I'd pull out the applications and I'll flip through the questions and I'm reading the questions because most of them are like 18 questions. I'll scan through real quick and I make sure, okay, can we say no to all of these? Because if we say no to all of these, they're getting approved. And that's another way. And then finally, probably the easiest way is to call the in-home helpline, but be sure when you call the in-home helpline, you've completed at least steps 1 and 2. You've completed the client worksheet and you've reviewed the underwriting grid. So when you call and I answer, you could say to me, hey, Jermaine, I'm with Bob. Bob has cancer or had cancer 3 years ago. I looked at the underwriting grid. It looks like Americal will approve him. I just wanted to make sure I'm going down the right path because I want to put Bob in the best position. And I'll say, you're absolutely right. Good job looking at your underwriting grid. Go ahead and help Mr. Bob with the Americal plan. That's how the conversation should go. It's really just like a verification, not calling me and asking me to look at the underwriting grid and tell you what to write. Okay, that's enabling. We don't enable, we empower. We say, we give you that affirmation. You're on the right track. You're doing a great job. Matter of fact, put me on speaker. Let me tell Mr. Bob how great you are. And I'll tell Mr. Bob, you got one of the best agents helping you out right now. She's going to put a couple plans together for you. Pick the one that makes the most sense for you, and she'll help you apply. And we should be able to get you approved today. How's that sound? And then I'm off the phone, and you go ahead and make the sale. Okay. And then finally, when you are explaining the plans, you're showing your client the plans, right? There's a couple tools here that I use and I recommend. One, if you're helping your client with a final expense product, I recommend you review, before you show them plan options, you review the benefits of the plan. All the final expense plans have these benefits, so you could review that with them. Some of them don't have the accidental doubler, so just be wary of that. Americal definitely does. That's why we like Americal. And then for mortgage protection, I like to use Americal mortgage protection, and I go over these benefits with them so they understand what's included. And it's the concept of, instead of saying, hey, here's some steak and potatoes, you could say, hey, this is the 12-month dry age ribeye with whatever, and this is our garlic mashed potatoes, Idaho potato. You just make it sound nicer, right? And it adds more value to it. So those are two things that I use in this section. And once you've helped your client, you want to leave them with some type of a receipt, right? So they know, okay, we got some insurance in place today. So the client insurance coverage page, under the policy recording documents, we utilize that, and we leave this with every client. And it's your contact information. You can attach your business card if you have one, but if not, you have your contact information here. And then the name of the company, the policy number. Most of the carriers will issue a policy number once you submit the policy right there. And it's either approved or it's going to be approved in a couple of days. Policy details is the coverage amount, premium draft date, policy amount, you sign, they sign, and they keep this as a copy. And while I'm filling this out, I have them read this poem, and it's a nice little poem. And this is our retention poem, because it talks about, hey, I'm your policy. When you're laid to rest, I come alive to do my job. Make sure I'm alive when you're not, meaning keep your policy in force. So that way I could do my job. So I let them read that while I'm writing up their receipt, and they'll probably giggle a little bit because it's a little cute poem. And so those are the tools we have, guys. And you want to be able to take the next day or two and kind of go through this. And then before I forget, actually, the quoting tools are listed here. Americo and Mutual, their quoting tools are outside of their platform. All the other carriers, you have to log into their portal to be able to do a quote with them. So that's another reason why Americo is one of our favorite companies, as well as Mutual. But if you're doing a quote, you just click quote, and let's say you're in Alabama, and you go to Eagle, which is their whole life product. You got a client that's looking for burial insurance. You hit create. He's 50. He's male. He's a non-smoker. He wants $10,000 for his burial. You hit run, and it tells you the price. And I typically show my clients 3 options, and I call them options. Actually, I call them plans. And because the concept there is, I'm not showing you a quote. A quote is something that you could turn down. I'm showing you a plan. We're putting a plan in place to make sure that when you're no longer here, your family has a financial plan. And I think that carries a lot more weight than, hey, let me show you some quotes. I always say, hey, we're going to put a plan together for you today. And let me show you 3 plans: plan A, plan B, plan C. Just like life, you need a plan A, plan B, and plan C just in case. And so, which one of these plans will make the most sense for you, so you're not burdened while you're living, but also more importantly for your daughter, your wife, your whoever, so that they're not burdened when you're no longer here. And then I shut up and let them tell me. And whatever they tell me, I go into the agent portal and I complete my e-app, or I complete my paper app, and I take care of my client. Okay. Any questions? Now you can unmute and ask questions if you want. You can also check out our hiring section, which is password protected at the moment, but that will be changing soon. But it has some information on hiring if you want to hire agents. All right, anybody have questions?
Question. If one of the clients you sell a policy to, if they get terminally ill, if any of the policy we offer, does it offer them the option if they are terminally ill to access their funds?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. I'm pretty confident all of our term policies do that. Okay. If not, there might only be one that doesn't offer terminal illness, but I'm pretty confident all of them do. And then the whole life, I'm 100% sure all of the whole life plans do offer a 50% cash out if there's a terminal illness.
Okay. And what about the term? Is it 100% if it's a terminal?
It depends on the product. It's anywhere from, I think, 80 to 100%.
Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Oh yeah, my other question is, as far as electronically, does all the carriers, we can do it electronically, or should we have like paper apps on hand just in case?
I would always have paper apps on hand, but all the carriers do allow e-apps. So as long as you've got internet connection, you should be able to write an application. I have not written a paper application in so long I haven't remembered. But every now and then, if you depend on where you live, you might get to an area where there's no signal, and you might need a paper application to be able to make sure you could get the client covered.
All right, perfect.
Yeah. All right, I'll take one more. Is it from you, Sharon, or does anybody else have a question? All right, guys. So a couple things. you want to schedule a mentor call with the person that's mentoring you. You should know by now. If not, you could check with me or Desiree. And you also want to schedule some time to go through the knowledge library and be able to watch those videos, explore, become familiar with what's available there, and then be ready to ask some questions if you have any. The one tip I could leave you with is the individuals who are most successful with us are the ones that, you know, dig in, dive in, ask questions, and then apply what they learn to be able to have success. I mean, if you do that here, you're guaranteed to win. So be that individual, because anybody could be that individual, and we want you to win. Our goal for every agent that works with us is to help you make a six-figure income. Not many companies you could work with that, you know, amen to that, Sharon, right? Not many companies you work at, you know, want that for you. And we're definitely that agency where we want you to have a strong six-figure income, multiple six-figure income. I mentioned to you, and again, guys, this is not to boast, it's just to let you know what's possible. My first year, I did 160,000. My first 7 months, because I started in June. Every year since then, that was 2017. Every year since then, 2018, 2019, 2020, I've made multiple six figures. I'm not some expert sales guru guy. I just work hard and I help people. And I'm passionate about that, and God blesses that. And this business is that vehicle that anybody can do that. So I just want to encourage you with that. You deserve it. Your family deserve it. And the families that you're going to help deserve your help too. So let's go to work. And let's make an impact. Appreciate you being on the call tonight, and we'll have this posted by tomorrow morning on our Facebook and YouTube page. All righty. Thank you, guys. You're welcome.